Okay, perfect. So we are now officially recording. So for those who don't know me, my name is Camille Westmoreland. I'm a Chairman 10 with I Am Mastery Academy, and I am located in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, originally from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And I'm so excited to be on this call with you all. I have been a part of this space for the last 5.5 years, almost 6 years. And one of the things that I would love to say to you all, if you get nothing else from me, if you desire to have a life of wealth, if you desire to be wealthy, then you want to always position yourself in continuing education. So whether you're on this call because you literally were just invited and this is your first time, or whether you're on this call because you have been a part of the opportunity before, or whether you're a part of this call because you're part of the opportunity now, you just want to keep in your mind that I always have to position myself for continuing education. I always have to position myself to be around people who are smarter than me, who know more than me, so that I can continue to develop and grow. So when you think about a person who is, let's just say, a doctor, that doctor has to go through continuing education. So they can't just get their degree as a doctor and then they're just a doctor forever. They'll technically have a doctorate degree forever. However, let me see, I see some lines unmuted. Okay. They'll, be that doctor, but to continue to practice, they have to continue to get continuing education. Why? Because things are always evolving and things are always shifting and things are always changing. And so the beautiful thing about this space that we are in right now is that we are able to stay ahead of the curve. This company is so innovative, and I am super honored and grateful that I'm a part of this company. I'm grateful for Christopher Terry. I'm grateful for the people that he entrusts to instill into us so that we can all continue to develop and grow, right? And so we're going to kind of jump in there. So it's going to be like some conversation. Of course, I'm going to share my screen and all that stuff. But actually, before I do that, can y'all do me a favor? I want to know who I have on the line. So if you all can just do me a quick favor real quick, just put in the chat where you're calling from. Let's see, who do we have on the line tonight? I see Thomasville out there, Louisville, Texas, Bronx, New York. Hey, Ram family, let's go, Patrick. Little Rock, Arkansas representing. Let's go. Flint, Michigan, Maryland, Virginia, Nashville, Indianapolis, Conway. Welcome to the call. Louisville, Ohio, Vegas, Chicago, Madison, Alabama, North Carolina, Little Rock representing the ATL. What is that? Pluggerville, baby? I ain't never heard of that before. Kentucky, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, Jacksonville, Kernersville, North Carolina. Let's get it. Trefo, baby, let's go. All right, Colorado, Montgomery, Alabama, Cleveland, Panama City. I'm so excited to have y'all coming from all different parts of the country, all different parts of the world, because that's what I want you to understand. What you have in front of you and what you're going to hear about is global. This thing can touch anybody, anywhere, who has some type of Wi-Fi or internet, right? Anybody can take advantage of the stuff that we're talking about tonight. And so we're gonna jump in there. So I was having a conversation with a couple of my team members the other day, and then my money mentor, Dr. Jewel Tankard, she, hit me up and was like, Mill, you need to do this, this, and this. And so what my posture has always been is, if my millionaire mentor tells me to do it, I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna figure it out later. So she was like, do this, this, and this. So I did it. I didn't know why I did it. But then after I did it, I was like, okay, now let me go see what I did and why. So then when I started looking, I'm like, man, mind totally blown at this point, you guys. And I'm like, oh no, we gotta do a webinar. We gotta expose as many people to this as we possibly can. And so I called my business partner, Marquita, and I was like, okay, look, helping families, we about to help families globally. We about to put this out to Dr. Jewel's whole Rising Profit squad. We want every person who's traded before, not traded before, ain't heard of trading. We want them on this call because there's so many things that we're seeing on social media, but some people don't really know what those things mean. And so the purpose of the call tonight is to really talk about what we call DeFi. DeFi is short for Decentralized Finance, right? So many of you may have heard of different cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so forth, and how people coin that as the people's money. DeFi is kind of like coined as the people's bank, right? And so I'm going to share my screen actually, and let's jump to this side of everything, and then we will keep going from there, right? So right here, so let's go ahead and jump to this next slide. So this is the first thing I want to talk about, because I'm going to the news, because this is stuff that y'all have seen on social media. So what my goal is to talk about those things that we've seen, give you a better understanding of how these things are playing a part in today, and why you need to position yourself to take action now. So as many of you all heard over the last couple of weeks, President Biden has this proposed legislation that would allow the IRS more information on your bank accounts with more than $600 in it. So basically what's happening is, if this legislation is passed, if you have more than $600 in your bank account, every transaction that you do, they are reporting at the end of the year to the IRS. They want to know what money came in, what money went out, where did it go? Did it go to an investment? Did it go to pay a loan? The money you received, did you get a loan? Just absolutely too much information that is not really necessary. And so if you think about it, the whole premise behind them doing this was to try to limit tax evasion, if you will, because normally right now it's only if you deposit or do a transaction larger than $10,000 that information is reported. But now it's not saying that if the transaction is more than 600, it's saying if you have 600 in that bank account, you could be doing a transaction for $20. They're going to be reporting where everything goes. And it's like, what in the world is actually going on right now? So looking at this, I'm like, man, that's why we need to be our own bank. And it took me back, because back in March of this year, our educator, Curtis Cobain, put us on to DeFi. So this is what I need you to understand. This is why you have to stay around people who are smarter than you. Because a lot of times what will happen is that you'll hear something or you'll see something happen and you be like, dang, I done got caught up, right? But if you're around the right people, you can stay ahead of the curve. And so that's the important part I need you to understand in everything that you're going to hear. The goal is to stay ahead of the curve. And so this is the actual article right here. And it was one part that I wanted to point out in the article. You can go look it up. It's on CNN. It's 10tv.com. But this is the part that I wanted you to understand. Let me find it. Okay, right here. It says, under the proposed legislation, financial institutions will report data on financial accounts in an information return. The annual return will report gross inflows and outflows with a breakdown for physical cash, transactions with foreign accounts, and transfers to and from another account with the same owner. This requirement will apply to all businesses and personal accounts for financial institutions, including bank, loan, and investment accounts, with the exception of accounts below the threshold of $600 or fair market value of $600. This measure, if approved, will begin in 2023. So I say that to say, you being on this call positions you to be able to be ahead now. So with that being said, this information, because if it passes, will launch in 2023. That doesn't mean wait till 2023 to do something about it. You now want to position yourself now, okay? So let's jump back over here to this slide. So the next one that popped up, the U.S. government will run out of money by October 18. Treasury Secretary says. Here's the article, okay? So what is actually happening right now? This article is from a couple of days ago. And in this particular article, it is talking about the debt ceiling that the U.S. government has currently. And so right now, there is not an increase in the debt ceiling. So if Congress and all of those parts do not come together to make an agreement to raise the debt ceiling, then the U.S. government can default, right? So what happens if a default happens? The U.S. dollar is going to crash. What happens when the U.S. dollar crashes? Cryptos and gold are going to skyrocket, right? So this is why positioning is everything. So now when you see the news and when you get plugged into education, you're now looking at a different eye to make sure that you position yourself. Many of you on the line may have heard about crypto in the previous years and did nothing And then you saw all this crypto skyrocketing and moving, and then you're trying to get in when you really had an opportunity to get in before. Don't let that happen to you this time, okay? You want to take massive action, right? Now, this is just a projected date. There is no guarantees, as we've seen with our government. They'll wait to the last second, the last minute to approve something just to create that extra in the economy. But the thing that really got me, President Biden posted on Twitter yesterday, and he said to the American people, I say this, as soon as this week, your savings and your pocketbook could be directly affected by the Republican stunt to block us from raising debt limit. Now, this has nothing to do with no political affiliations. I could care less if you're Republican or Democrat. I'm looking at the economy as a whole. So for him to post something like that saying your savings and your pocketbook could be impacted, I was like, no, I'm not giving any entity that much control over my money. And this is the reason why crypto was created. It was created to be decentralized. It was created to be the people's money, so we have control and not having control taken by a centralized entity, right? And so let's just keep going real quick. So we're going to actually talk about what DeFi is. I kind of touched on it a little bit. It is a global open alternative to the current financial system. Products that let you borrow, save, invest, trade, and more. And it's based on open source technology, the blockchain that anyone can program with, right? So now the goal for us as a group of people is to literally be able to control our own money within technology and within ourselves, right? So let's just jump over here more about DeFi. It is a collective term for financial products and services that are accessible to anyone who can use Ethereum, which is basically anybody with an internet connection. If you have an internet connection, you can have access to DeFi. You can have access to this tool. So even the homeless person down the street, if they can get into a library with some internet, they can have access to this. So this is no respect to a person. With DeFi, the markets are always open and there are no centralized authorities who can block payments and deny you access to anything. So the thing that I love about DeFi is that last part. They cannot deny you access to anything. Many of us work hard for our money. Many of us save. Many of us, want to do things like purchase houses and do different things. But then when you go to get your bank loan or whatever the case, they have all these qualifications to not qualify you, right? They take you through all these hoops and combing through all your financials and all this to still tell you no, right? And so with this, it's actually positioning you for a greater advancement. The services that were previously slow and at risk of human error are automatic and safer now that they're handled by code that anyone can inspect and scrutinize. So within the blockchain, everything is just coding. So it's not like a person looking to see, is this person a black female or is this person a white male? This is going to be their interest rate because of this or that. DeFi helps eliminate all of that, which is a total game changer, right? And so let me see if I see. Okay, so let's talk about this first, centralized finance. So all your services rely solely on central authority. So that's your banks, the Federal Reserve. These are people who control. But the reality is, in a centralized financial arena, is a possibility of mismanagement of money, fraud, corruption. All these things come into play because there is a person or people who are controlling what is happening there, right? But as you keep moving, let me actually show you this, but this is what I want you to understand. So banks, if you watch, they will try to make it look like crypto, stay away from crypto, it's a bubble, it's gonna bust, it's gonna do, to create fear. But as you can see in this article right here from Yahoo Finance, banks are asking for space to grow crypto. So now banks see that with this whole decentralized finance platform, that we, the people, are able to create the people's money and position ourselves for growth. The banks want to get in on it but to make it look like we're keeping up, so you don't have to close your account with us. We now have crypto too. However, the reality is with these banks are not going to be able to do a lot of the things that these DeFi banks, if you will, do. And so this right here, the nation's largest banks are asking an international body of regulators to give them the space to grow their crypto asset exposures, sparking debate over where guardrails should be placed on the emerging asset class. On Tuesday, an advocacy group representing the 8 largest US-based financial institutions wrote to the Bank of International Settlements regarding this proposal for a global framework for bank exposure and crypto assets. So for the last couple of years and months, they're like, no crypto, no crypto. Banks have recently tried to stop you from doing crypto transactions. I mean, I've been with Bank of America for years, and then I'm trying to do transfers and they blocking stuff. And I'm like, well, what are you doing? I've been doing this for years. It's because they realize what is coming down the pipe. So this itself should also be a financial indicator for you that banks are now trying to get into this space. This is why I need to make sure that I am positioned. The thing about it though, is that with these particular banks, they are not able to pay the same way that these decentralized banks are. Our banks give us less than 1% a year, but once you position yourself to be your own bank through DeFi, you can see 8% a year return on your money, which is super strong. And now it gives you control. And so let's keep it moving. Let me get to my next slide. Give me a second. So some DeFi components. It's a decentralized infrastructure, as I mentioned, based off of Ethereum. Anybody who has internet access can access Ethereum, can connect through DeFi. They use stable money. So there are coins that are backed that you're able to put your money into. And then there are decentralized financial services. The beautiful thing about a decentralized bank that I need you to understand is that no government can come in and shut it down. No government can come in and shut it down. Why? Because there's no owner. There are just programmers out there pulling all this together to make it the people's money, so they cannot come and shut it down. So this is the reason why when you start hearing DeFi and they're saying stay away to incite fear, is because they know if you take that step, they will no longer have the control. Okay? This connects lenders to borrowers. In the DeFi space, you're able to borrow against your own crypto collateral. No one is denied. It ain't no credit checks. They not trying to get all your information to qualify you. But if you have the crypto there, they qualify you with collateral based off of that. And you also have the opportunity to say, I want to loan crypto to somebody and get this % interest rate. So now what does it do? It connects lenders to borrowers. It positions you to be a lender, not a borrower. So now when you have your own bank, you're able to literally borrow from yourself. You approve yourself to borrow, which is super strong. You approve yourself like, you know, thank you. She said, as a VP of corporate banking, I approve this message. Let's go. All right. So let's keep it moving here. So there are different banking options that you can have where DeFi is concerned. And so, for example, in this particular one I'm showing you, we can't publicly give names and stuff like that. But once you're tapped in and plugged in and ready to go, we can work with you on the back end. So this particular DeFi bank, there's 375 million insurance and maximum security for your assets, okay? Once you have deposited assets, you have access to a credit line to borrow with automatic approval with no credit checks. You will have access to spend your money instantly with your debit card. So within this, you get your debit card. The beautiful thing is because it's decentralized, no one has access to know what money you got coming in, what money you got coming out, right? Then there are no minimum loan repayment fees and there are no hidden fees. This is what blew my mind right here. This is, what is his name? Brock Pierce from the Mighty Ducks. Super powerful. He partner with this company. I wouldn't say partner, but he put his crypto, 95% of his wealth is in cryptocurrency in his own DeFi bank. So what actually happened with him was he was able to use $2 million collateral from his crypto, and this company backed his mortgage. And he purchased a house $1.2 million without having to run his credit, without having to go through all these hoops to prove his income. He had the money in crypto and they leveraged that to approve him. That's super powerful, right? So I literally just set my stuff up. Dr. Jewel set up, as many know, I run her entire brand. So I had to look at everything from top to bottom to make sure that this was like legit. And let me tell you something, it blew my mind. So I pulled this screenshot right here just to kind of give you an example of what your DeFi banking would look like. So within the different banking systems, they have certain cryptos that you can buy and hold and invest, right? So for example, in this particular case, however much you put in, roughly about 30 to 40%, they give you a immediate credit line, okay? So let's just say you had this right here. You put $485,000 into crypto. I know this may be a big number for people, but as you continue into this and you can see the full picture, you set goals to say, I'm putting $20 a week in, then I'm putting $50 a week in to create. So immediately when I deposited money, this isn't my account, but when I deposited money, my credit line immediately showed up. So picture this. Just picture this as your account right here. And you just constantly been putting money in there. You now have a credit line of $204,000. So what does that mean? Let's just say you decide, I want to buy my son a condo. I found him a condo for $80,000. Instead of you having to go through to try to get a mortgage and everything, this line is already available for you because you made a deposit. All you got to do is select borrow, how much you want to borrow, and then they ask you, do you want me to send it to your bank account or do you want me to put it in USD coin and you can figure out what you're going to do with it? And then that's it. You have officially paid for that house cash, and then it's no repayment terms. They tell you how much you have to pay back because you do pay interest because they're letting you borrow as collateral without any type of credit check. And then you pay back on that thing as you see fit. As you're paying, the money that you're paying minus the interest is being added back to your portfolio balance, right? But then on top of that, as you can see, you got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance, Nexo. These coins is telling you your earned interest for the year. So this interest is compounding daily. So by the end of the year with Bitcoin, you can see up to 8%. For Ethereum, 8%. For the Nexo coin, 12%. So now what happens? Your portfolio is fluctuating and growing with the growth of the market, but you're also receiving interest from housing your money in your own DeFi bank. So all of your money that is free and clear, not tied up in a credit line, is what's growing. Whatever you borrow out, that money is not being compounded in that balance, but as soon as it's paid back, it is compounded in that balance. So this is what it truly means to be your own bank at the end of the day. So you have access to your funds. You can do and it's a beautiful thing. I take out a loan for $80,000 to buy this condo. It hits my bank account, but it hits my bank account and it's a loan, so it doesn't look like income to me, right? Because it's a loan against myself. So the money hit my bank account, and now when I start paying back out, you mark that thing as you paying a loan. Do you see what I'm saying? So you can see where this thing is going. So why is this important for what is happening globally right now? It is important for what's happening globally right now because if the banking system was to shut down in the next couple of weeks, or it's been moments, and I don't know if y'all remember this, when nobody could get into their bank accounts. I think it was Bank of America. So it was something happening where we could not get our money. We couldn't access nothing. So if you didn't have cash on hand, you were short. But with this decentralized, and they're not locking stuff up and telling you can't withdraw your money. They're not putting in control that you can borrow or you can't afford to borrow. You now are able to control, and then you're now able to position yourself to help people to create a return on your money. And so in positioning yourself in this particular capacity right here, you're now participating in what freedom looks like, where your money is now working for you. Because a lot of times we don't keep up with inflation and things that are happening because we are constantly just putting money in the savings account or withdrawing the money and putting it in a safe or whatever the case may be. So you want to put your money into appreciating assets, right? So you're probably like, okay, Camille, this sounds great. What's next? The next thing is to get educated while you're sharing and exposing. One of the things that I always tell people is impact over income. When you impact other people, income is going to come. So I put a square around this because I wanted y'all to see understanding DeFi 101. If you're already plugged in, I need you jumping on Curtis Cobain's favorites as soon as this call is over. If you are not plugged in, I need you to get back with the person who invited you and said, I'm ready to plug in. But I don't want you to just plug in to look for yourself. I want you to plug in so you can make impact in someone else's life. Someone thought enough of you to invite you to this call to hear this information. So you want to do the same thing because this thing is global and it is affecting everybody. And so it's up to a person to make a decision. Everyone under the sound of my voice, is up to you to make a decision what you're going to do next. But no one will ever be able to come back to Sakina or Fatima or Demita, I'm trying to see who I see on here, or Tish, and say, you didn't tell me. So you sitting here on a gold mine and you didn't tell me. No, I told you, but it's up to you to make a decision, right? So you want to set your heart that I want to make impact globally. I'm not going to sit on this just for myself and be selfish and not tell somebody else, right? And I say that I want to say that because I'm going to be doing this again in 2 days on Thursday night at the same time. So I need you right now to be writing down and thinking of people who you know this can change their life. This information alone, because what's going to happen is once you're plugged in and you get to Curtis's favorites, he is giving you the full breakdown of what DeFi is, but he's also going to teach you about NFTs, and we have to save that and talk about that another day. But now what it's doing is helping position you to be on the passive side of where things are concerned, to protect your money, to be in control of your money. DeFi, I like to say, is the people's bank because we make the rules. We make the rules at the end of the day. So it's up to you to decide, do I want to make the rules, or do I want to keep letting these other entities tell me what I need to do or what I can and can't do with the money that I worked for? And so that's the decision that you have to make, as I said. And then I just want to show you this real quick. Many of you have probably seen this cash flow quadrant before. What I want you to understand is this. Many of us work on the left side of the quadrant because security is key. Like, I can't do anything else because I got good benefits. I got my health insurance, this and this and that. However, 10% of the world population is on the passive income side. What I want you to understand is, in order for you to experience freedom, it requires you to be rich, right? So how does that work when you look at this cash flow quadrant? Making impact. Impact produces passive income. So who are you going to go out and impact? Because what happens, just to kind of give you an example, and I'm gonna briefly talk about this, within this company, because I made a decision to make impact, to do webinars like what you're on today, I've been able to position myself to produce 5 figures a month on top of the education I'm learning and on top of the investing I'm able to do. So what does that do? It provokes me to continue making impact. And in my making impact, that's helping Sakina create cash flow. That's helping Marquita create cash flow. That's helping Tashana create cash flow. That's helping, let's see, Chinichi create cash flow. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I was willing to open my mouth and share the same information that came to me. So now what happens? When those 5 figures come into my pocket, I'm now able to take a percentage of that and put that into DeFi. I am now able to take that and put that into freedom. You see what I'm saying? I am able to free myself. You cannot create freedom by trying to invest off of a job alone. It will never happen. You have to create impact to create passive income, which means this is money I do not have to work for. And when you make money you did not have to work for, it now positions you to live that life that you desire to live. We were not created to work and die. We were not created to just work all these days, can't retire because we're not making enough money, and then work to the day we die. Many people choose that path because of either laziness or lack of exposure. But you have to make a decision what that looks like for you. And I know for me, when I heard about this opportunity 5.5 years ago, I knew that I wanted freedom. When my mentor explained to me what freedom was gonna look like, I was up for the challenge. I was up for the challenge and willing to do what 90% of the people don't want to do, so I can live a life that 90% of people won't ever live. So you have to be willing to make the same decision that it doesn't look fun, but I know if I push through. Many people push through on a job every day because they ready to get that 60-cent raise. You will show up when you sick. You will show up when your boss get on your nerves. You will show up when your coworker trying to be your boss. You will show up when you want to take a vacation and they denied your vacation. You will show up when you don't want to take another customer service call. But then when it comes to your business and impacting other people, because it looks hard, I don't have time for it. So I'm just going to stay on the plantation. And I'm not knocking anybody that enjoys your job, because everybody can't just be business owners and, because I need somebody to bring me my groceries in Instacart. No shade to Instacart, but I don't want to go grocery shopping. So everybody's not going to get it, but there is a remnant. There is a small few who, if you position yourself to be not just a hearer, but a doer, do you see what I'm saying? It will change everything in your life. But it's up to you to make the decision on what you want to do with your life. I can't want it more than you. Dr. Angela can't want it more than you. Sakina can't want it more than you. Jamie can't want it more than you. You have to want it more than anybody else can want it. We'll be here to root you on, learn this information, make impact. When you hear, move, and figure it out later. We're going to be your biggest cheerleaders, whether you win or lose, right? But winning and losing is up to you. And the only way you lose is if you back down and quit. So let me get off my rabbit trail and let me keep it moving. Okay, so as I mentioned, impact produces passive income, which produces freedom. I didn't put that on there. But impact produces passive income, which produces freedom. Everybody put freedom in the chat. Put freedom in the chat. Freedom doesn't mean that you're not working, but freedom gives you options. Having extra money gives you options on whether or not you're gonna go, you gotta go to pick up your daughter today or not. You might be like, I don't want to pick my daughter up, I'm gonna get a driver for her. Options give you the freedom to say, I'm gonna work from Belize today. I just want to jump on a plane and fly to Dubai for the week. Whatever freedom looks like to you, I want you to get a picture of your head and what freedom looks like for you. And then what I want you to do is keep that thing in front of your face every single day. And until you have accomplished the level of freedom that you're desiring, your work is not done. And don't get weary in your well-doing, because you are out here impacting the masses. It's not going to always be easy, but remember, whenever there's resistance, there's always a harvest on the other side of the resistance, only if you're willing to push through. So even in this information that you're hearing today, it may be new to some of you all, and you're like, I don't really understand. It's okay. Tap in and you will get the understanding that you need. When I went to college for nursing, I didn't know anything about nursing, but I was willing to tap in to be a student so I can learn. I ended up realizing I didn't like nursing, so I shifted to political science and I thrived, right? So it's all about taking the step to be willing to learn. Things that are worth having do not come easy. So you got to be willing to put the work in, and you got to be willing to stay the course. I said yes 5.5 years ago, and my yes has not changed. I am still saying yes every day when I don't feel like talking to somebody, when I don't feel like doing a webinar. Why? Because I know my goals are so big and I have to stay the course in order to see those things fulfilled. Do you see what I'm saying? So you have to keep that same mindset across the board with everything that you do. And so I just want to, let me ask you this right quick for the people that are on this line. Put it in the chat for me real quick. If you could have any type of residual coming into your account every single day or every month, how much money would produce a new level of freedom for you? How much money extra a month would produce a new level of freedom for you? Put it in the chat. Okay, 10,000, 10,000, 20,000, okay? 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, okay? Let's go. Yeah, the new minimum wage, to me, honestly, I feel like it's 10,000 a month. Like, real talk. I was telling Marquita when I was talking to her, like, I see how much it takes to take care of myself, and all I have is a dog. I cannot imagine someone making less than me doing it. And anyone who does, I applaud you. I applaud you. But as you can continue to keep going up new levels, you're going to realize this ain't enough for my goals. So I asked you that question because I want to show you this. This is what impact can look like in your life. Remember, I said impact over income. So even in everything that you heard today, you may get back with the person and you say, I'm ready to get plugged in. I'm ready to be my own bank. I'm ready to be a student. I'm ready to learn. But this is what I want to show you, because I just showed you on the cash flow quadrant that making impact produces residual income, which produces freedom. So just like this webinar tonight, we're doing another one on Thursday night talking about this exact same thing. So if this information resonated with you and provoked you to move, you want to expose this to other people. Exposing this to 12 people will add an extra $600 to your bank account. You can do a lot with $600. That's somebody's car note, somebody's insurance. You see what I'm saying? While you're being a student and learning, some people will take that $600 and just invest it. They're saying, hey, I'm about to go out here and make some impact because this company is willing to give me money that I can put into my DeFi portfolio to level my life up. It's no right or wrong answer to what you will do with the money, but what does freedom look like to you? 30 people impacted is an extra $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year. Okay? Impacting 75 people is an extra $2,000 a month, $24,000 a year. Do you see what I'm saying? Because most people on average, before I left my job 8 years ago, I was making $30,000 a year. An hour and a half round trip to work. Getting written up if I was in the bathroom too long. Told that I could only go to lunch at this time. Told I could only do this at that time for that small amount of money, but I did it, right? 225 people positions you for $5,000 a month, $60,000 a year. The average person isn't even making $60,000 a year. So you mean to tell me that you can plug into a financial educational source that you choose to impact people by exposing them to the information, not you being their teacher, not you telling them everything from top to bottom, but plugging them into the source? You mean to tell me that you can make $60,000 a year? Absolutely. 500 people impacted, $10,000, $120,000 a year. Do you see what I'm saying? So whatever that number is for you, think impact over income. Don't just think about the education and what you can get for yourself. Think about the legacies that you can impact. Many people talk about wanting to leave a legacy, but leaving a legacy is deeper than just your family. You can leave a legacy for Ronnie, because I told her about this, and now Ronnie is able to do stuff for her family. I can help in leaving a legacy for Keandra because I share with Keandra. I can help in aiding and leaving a legacy with Demita, with Tasha, with Fatima. Do you see what I'm saying? So now is the time for us to get out of being me-minded, but we-minded. Now is the time to bring everybody along with you that is ready to come along for the ride. Ready to, make change in their life, because the reality is everything that I talked about, all of y'all have seen on the news. So what I am sharing only makes sense. It only makes sense. So now it is up to you to actually make a decision. Reach out to the person that invited you and tell them, I am ready to get started. It's $325 to get started, $275 a month. The beautiful thing about this is that you're going to be positioned to create additional cash flow. You're going to be positioned to create residual. You're going to be positioned to have your money now working for you. You are now going to be able to employ your money, and you're going to be able to position yourself to not have to pull money from your other resources. That is the powerful thing about this. So go ahead and text that person and say, send me the link. I am ready to get started. Okay. And then what you want to do is go ahead and jump in there and go and share with people what you learned and invite them back here at the same time on Thursday night. Okay. And so just remember this as we get ready to wrap the call. The longer you're not taking action, the more money you're losing. Literally at the end of the day, keep that at the forefront of your mind, because you may be like, I'll look at it tomorrow. I'll look at it the next day. Time is money. Time is money. So you want to position yourself now and make those moves. And I promise you, it would be one of the best decisions of your life. It was the best decision of my life 5.5 years ago. And I say yes every single day. Remember what I said in the beginning, it's about continual education. Don't plug in and come here just to get the sauce real quick and then disconnect, because this was very kind of me to reach out to a lot of inactives to say, I need you to hear this. Because I could have just been about myself and made sure I was set up and not expose you to what you're missing because you chose not to plug or stay plugged. But now you have an opportunity now to come in with a mindset of, I desire to be wealthy. Until I am wealthy, whatever that looks like, billionaire status, whatever that is, until I am wealthy, I am a student. Even when I'm wealthy, I am a student. I cannot get to the point, I'll never get to the point where I know it all in this space. One of the things that Christopher Terry told Dr. Jewel one time is to always stay stupid. And what he meant by that was, don't get so high and mighty that you know everything that people can't tell you nothing. Because then what happens is when no one can tell you nothing, everybody is down the street and around the corner, and you still sitting back at the stop sign because you knew what you really didn't know. And so with that being said, I thank y'all for hanging out with me briefly tonight. Get back with the person that invited you on this call. Let them know that I'm ready to get going. If you are a part of IM, go ahead and jump back in there with Curtis. He's breaking everything down for you. If you were once a part and now you're ready to reconnect, get with the person who invited you to this webinar so that you can get your next steps. But as I mentioned, time is money. Get yourself positioned so you don't regret it later. I thank you all for jumping on. Once again, my name is Camille Westmoreland, and I look forward to speaking with you all again on Thursday night. And let's go out and make some impact. Have a good night.